Hi everyone, welcome to the third episode of Talking, Teaching and Tech. I'm Fiona.
And I'm Greg.
And today we're going to be talking a little bit more about UDL, and we're going to be talking about engaging your students. And we've got a couple of ideas that we want to share with you today.
Yeah, hey, so Fiona, let me share my screen. There I go. So, in the Universal Design for Learning framework, there's those three the elements, multiple means of representation, multiple means of action and expression, multiple means of engagement. Well, if you go to the website, they put the engagement bit first, which I think is really important because, unless our students are motivated and engaged with their learning, what they're reading and what they're writing about might even happen. So engagement's a really important thing, isn't it? So, and I was thinking about that, and I brought up this slide to kind of help us kind of frame a discussion around it. And for me, engagement's all about motivated learners, about learners with a purpose. So,
and I think students who have the tools that they need to be able to have that motivation. So we know kids who maybe want to be involved with things, but maybe they haven't got the tools or the access that they want to be able to do that. So that stops their engagement right there, doesn't it?
It does, yeah. And for me, that word agency is really important. Giving our learners, giving our students the control. When you've got control, when you actually are driving it, that's when you have motivation. If it's always getting done to you, you're just waiting. You're a passive receiver. So I like this idea. I like the framing engagement around agency, because I reckon that builds resilience and builds passion and kind of helps with risk taking because you're in control. And for me, it's all around well-being. And obviously, that's what that slide's showing. It's all about our students. The tech that's being used to support teaching learning in the classroom supports this concept, so that it's just not the tech actually mirrors what we're talking about. So I want to show you something that I reckon is a kind of a good example using Equatio. So yep, I'm going to dive into the maths tool. You wouldn't have thought that would be the case. And then maybe you could show something how you think this kind of using one of our tools. I think you're going to show something with read and write. Is that right?
Yep, that's right.
Okay, so let me just I'm just going to go into here. So you can see my screen okay, Fiona?
Yes.
Okay, so this is here's an example of how I think using some of the tools, using our tools, and in particular using Equatio, it kind of builds on this idea of engagement and agency and empowerment for our students. So this it's a kind of a bit of a story, I guess. I was in a school. It was actually in Singapore, and I was in a school, and a teacher was wearing this shirt, obviously a math teacher, and on the shirt had this equation, and then had this sentence: "What's your definition of beauty?" And I thought about that. I didn't know what this was. I had no idea what this equation meant, and I thought, I wonder what the answer to that question is. And traditionally, a student or anybody would look at that T-shirt, or if that was actually on a piece of paper, and look at it and go, I don't know. I need to find out. I need to ask somebody what that is. I thought, with Equatio, I can actually dive in and do this myself as a student. So what I've done, so I took a photo of the guy's T-shirt, obviously, put it here in a Google Doc, but I could put it anywhere. And I've got, I'll put this in a Google Doc. I've got Equatio opened up, and it's down the bottom of my screen. And for those people watching, Equatio is our making maths digital tool. And I'm using Google Doc, but I could be doing this in a Microsoft Word document anywhere. So it's down there. One of the tools on Equatio is the screenshot reader. So I'm just pretending to be the student. I'm going, I wonder what that means. I need to find out what that equation is. That's what I need to do. So I'm going to press on the screenshot reader, and then I'm going to put a box around that equation in that image. What Equatio does now, it analyzes it, it OCRs it for the student, for me, and it will then convert that to digital mathematics.
e raised to the I pi power plus 1 equals 0.
And then read it back to me. Cool. So, but I want to find out more. What is this thing? What I've got it. Let me just grab this now. I'm just going to kind of grab that and edit that with Equatio. So it's now put that equation into Equatio. So I can now edit this and play around with it. But I want to find out what it means. So what I can do, I've discovered that if I now just copy that equation that's sitting there in Equatio, I've copied it. I go to a new tab. I then paste it. Now what happens is it's actually copied it. Equatio has let me copy it as LaTeX or LaTeX. People say it differently, which is a kind of a. Would you say, Fiona, it's a mathematics scripting language? I don't know how you would describe it, but
it is a language. It's another way to write mathematical symbols, and it's used a lot in a lot of maths teachers use it, and it's used a lot in tertiary. Settings.
Well, I discovered that in Google, when you do a search, Google will search using LaTeX. So I've grabbed this text, this equation off the photograph using Equatio. I then copied it and pasted it into Google. I do a search for it, and automatically it's actually searched using the LaTeX version of the equation. And look what it's done. How cool is that? It's actually identified for me that actually equation is a thing called Euler's identity. And as a student, rather than just sitting there looking at that image going, I don't know what it is, I need to ask somebody, I'm out checking it out. I press on that. It now takes me to the page, the Wikipedia page. And here it is. I now can research and find out all about that particular mathematical concept. I can have read and write. Of course, I can turn it on and I can now go in and hover over some text and it will read it back to me.
Euler's identity is often cited as an example of deep mathematical beauty.
Hence the reason for that T-shirt saying, what is the definition of beauty? Euler's. Some people also pronounce it Eulers, but I think that's how it's correctly pronounced, Eulers. The other cool thing about this as a student is on this webpage, there's heaps of maths, and look what's happened. Because I've got Equatio installed, it's going to automatically identify any mathematics on that page and let me not only identify, but if I click on the little capture the math image, it will read that mathematics back to me correctly.
Cosine pi equals -1.
And I can also now copy that as well and go back to my document and paste it back in. So so if I go back to here, if I wanted to actually put something in there, I can just go here, paste that in and insert that math, and I can start to be writing more in depth about what this thing is and putting in text and stuff. I think that is just so awesome. It's like a mathematical hack, don't you think?
Definitely, without question. And I think the really nice thing for me is that there's so many levels to that, someone can just find out why it is a thing of beauty. And then, like you said, you can take it further and deeper. And Equatio just keeps going with you. It doesn't limit you in terms of what you can read and find out. And it's a really useful tool that way.
Yeah, cool. Awesome. So tell me.
What's
your hack?
My little hack. Well, I really like the Simplify tool, which is on the Read and Write web-based toolbar for Google Chrome. And what it allows you to do is all sorts of things, actually. And most recently working with students who, may have struggled with too much information on a page, or the way the print was put out, or different things like that. It's great to be able to use the Simplify tool to make this page look completely different. So remove all of those ads, take away any of that extraneous sort of information, but we've still got all the things that the student might need to use this particular bit of information. So they can adjust the spacing and they can adjust the size of the font, and also the type of font, depending on what works for them. So all that's really nice. And there's lots of really benefits to that for a whole range of students. But this Discover feature is the thing that I really like. And this website's all about visual information. And so if we looked at visual techniques and I use the dictionary, some of these may not come up in the way that I might want them to. So the word box office might give me the definition for box and office, but because I've turned on the Discover tool and it's got this purple underline on it, you can see all the different purple underlines as we go along. It's going to give me some additional information. And if I click on that, I love this picture. It gives you this really old-fashioned picture, which I like, but the box office or the ticket office, and it gives you information about what that actually is. And of course, same as you did, I can click on hover speech and I can read that aloud.
A box office or ticket office is a place where tickets are sold.
And have that read aloud and find out more information about it. But when we go down to things like body language, tells me what body language might be. Things like black and white photos, shows me a black and white photo. So I can really get some additional information. And when we're talking about, what English is like, don't we? The multiple meanings for words and the different ways that they're used in different contexts. It's such a handy tool to have. So not only does it take away and reduce all that clutter, it also gives me lots of additional information as well.
Yeah, so it is a hack, because what you've kind of done, what Read and Write's letting you do is take a web page and shape it how you want. So giving you, again, this idea of agency, giving you control and saying, okay, I want to get rid of all the stuff I don't need, just give me the main text, but then it's letting you do all this other stuff. Virtually kind of edit the web page to how you need it, and then give you these other additional links for, because this is kind of building students' vocab as well, really kind of getting them diving deep into what, before they might have looked at the web page and gone, oh, gee, that's confusing, I'll move on. This way they're getting a way to dive deeper into a web page.
Yeah, and then there's still all of their Read and Write toolbar docked at the top of the page to support them with anything else that they need as well.
Yeah. And I mean, they're just a couple of ways that we can use the Texthelp toolkit of products to actually support this idea of engagement in terms of that universal design for learning framework, and to give our students agency. Yeah. So
we could talk for a lot longer, couldn't we? If we went more.
So next week, what we should do is, what do you think? We'll dive in and have a look at how some of our tools support this idea of the third pillar of UDL, the multiple means of representation, how that can be supported using our tools.
Absolutely.
Okay. Well, I look forward to catching up with you then. I'm going to go off and play with the Simplify the Page tool and go and do some.
We'll have to take a photo of, don't we? These
Yeah.
COVID days, that's not as easy as it used to be.
Hey, I was thinking as you were showing that page too, the box office, I'm looking forward to the day when we can actually go back to a box office.
I know.
Anyway, until that day comes, we'll see everybody next week for another episode of Talking Teaching and Tech.
Okay. Thanks, Greg.
Thanks, Fiona. See ya.
Bye.